I've had both this Fender Blues Junior, which has gone mouldy, more on that later, and this Blackstar Studio 10 6L6, and I've had them both for a while now. And apart from my Fender going fusty with mould, which amp do you think I prefer, and which amplifiers do I use in my studio recordings? Coming up. Hello viewer, my name's Stu, and if you're new to the channel, I recommend you go to my channel playlist starting at video number 1 to get some context regarding my return back to playing and recording and this my music gear journey. Big thank you to those who subscribe, like, share and who take the time to comment below. It really is much appreciated and it helps the channel algorithms. Now, folks do contact me privately by email and that's really great, please do that. But do think about sharing any comments below, because your comments or questions can be helpful or encouraging to others. Anyway, big thank you for being here. Now, I've already done a couple of review videos into the workings of these two particular combo amplifiers, but now, having owned and used them for a while within a home studio type setting, I feel I can now give a better report on these and in turn my particular preferences. A quick note on amplifiers with built-in effects. Yes, I tried a couple out. I tried out a Fender Champion 100 and a Marshall Valve State AVT 2000 275, and while they were good at certain preset effects, you don't have any real control over them. So that kind of product is just too limiting for me, and therefore it's not something I would use. Nevertheless, certainly some folks will like these, and they're certainly a good choice for folks starting out. Like many products in any industry, trying to get one tool to do everything well is really not feasible, or not at this time anyway. So back to our main topic. First up, I unboxed this modern reissue style Fender Blues Junior Lacquered Tweed model, which has been a very popular combo for the Fender company. It certainly looks the part in regard to that classic vintage Fender Blues combo appearance, and it has a feeling of decent build quality. If you want a deeper dive on this, you can check out that video review on my Guitar Journey playlist. So I'm not really going to repeat what I've already said about this, so do check that out if you want to know more. I've used this amplifier on various videos when describing different guitars or effects pedals, and here are some short clips to get an idea of what that sounded like. I'll let you hear some more clips shortly within a backing track context. So, how do I feel about the amplifier now, and what on earth is going on with all of this mould? Well, I'll come to that shortly, but first we need to take a look at the other amplifier in question. Yes, that's the Blackstar Studio 10 6L6. Now, again, after much searching and product investigation, I chose this amplifier because of its overdrive tonal qualities, and I really liked the boutique look with its cream and oxblood finish. Again, if you want a deeper dive on this, you can check that video review out on my Guitar Journey playlist, so do check that out if you want to know more. Like the Fender Blues Junior, I've used the amplifier on various videos describing different guitars and effects pedals, and again, here are some short clips to get an idea of what that sounded like. Now, very shortly, I'll let you hear some more clips within a backing track setting to give you some context. So see what the amplifier sounds like with music. So after all this time, which do I prefer? Hands down, for the studio work that I do, even just practicing and jamming along with backing tracks, it's the Blackstar Studio 10 6L6. Quite simply, it has a very nice inbuilt overdrive feature that can be easily adjusted regardless of what guitar type is used, and it works really well with pedals, which can further enhance the overdrive tone. It's got a very good clean tone and a very good decent reverb. All in all, it's just a really nice little amplifier. It looks great. It's not out of place in my living room if I want to keep it there. It's loud enough to gig with within reason. It's easy to get overdrive tones without annoying your neighbours, and to date I've had no problems with it. Now, because unlike the Fender, which is a valve amplifier, this is a hybrid digital valve setup. Does that mean it might be cost prohibitive should it require a repair? I don't know. If you've got any experience on that, do comment below, because mine hasn't needed any repairs. To date, as I say, within a home environment with general use, I've had no issues. In regard to life expectancy, again, I don't know. It all depends on how you might be using this kind of amplifier, or any amplifier for that matter. In years gone by, I've had both transistor-based and valve amplifiers repaired, so at some time all amplifiers do need repaired. Again, if you want a deeper dive on the amplifier, you can check out my previous video review on this in my Guitar Journey playlist, so do check that out if you want to know more about its actual inner workings, the likes and dislikes from my perspective. Now the Fender. Okay, the Fender Blues Junior Tweed. When it arrived, it looked very smart, and once again it had that lovely boutique classic look. And then, some months later, I'd been away on business, and when I returned, I was very surprised to see that this little amplifier was now covered in mould. Now, there were two other combos sitting next to it, and they were all clean as a whistle. In fact, everything in that particular room, which is heated, was clean with no signs of damp or mould. However, I may have had it in a particular condition at one point that may have caused this. So, after a gentle hoover, and here you can see that I'm using an attachment to just lift off the where it is really quite thick, and then I go on to use a brush, a soft brush attachment, to then just kind of work into the tweed, and at the same time it's lifting off the mould without doing any damage to the surface of the amplifier. After I've done this, I use a little warm water with detergent and just rubbing it down, and then once finished, I then put the amplifier next to a radiator so it can just fully dry out. And I have to say, it's now back to normal. While it looked bad, it was very much just on the surface. Now, generally speaking, mould happens where you have a damp environment, either caused by cold, damp conditions, or high humidity. There are different ways to deal with that depending on the levels of dampness. Dehumidifier will dry out a room fairly quickly, but they can be expensive to run. You can get absorbent crystals in boxes, which you can refill. You can get small electric tube heaters, often used in small boats, which are not too expensive to run. Or, better still, find a room to keep your gear in where that won't happen. And good airflow is also important. So the Fender Blues Junior Lacquered Tweed, it's a nice amp, good reverb and clean tone, and depending on the guitar, single coil or humbucker, you do need to tweak the controls to suit. I have found that careful use of overdrive pedals alongside the master volume settings will give some really good bluesy tones and enable you to get all of that at bedroom volume levels. However, it's not an amplifier I'm going to be using in my studio, and in due course it's probably going to get sold or traded in for something else. So I'll just repeat, because I know there's a lot of Blues Junior lovers out there, it's all about the tone you're looking for. And for me, yes, I can get some really nice tones, both clean and overdriven, out of the Fender. But as mentioned, it's just not the amplifier for me. And certainly both amplifiers are really good. And here are some clips just to show you side by side what they both sound like with no pedals and with pedals. So the Fender's well capable of delivering some good tones, but for me, it just lacks the versatility of tone and overdrive that can be easily dialed in when using the Blackstar with any type of guitar. Again, your thoughts might be completely different, but that's why so many amplifier designs are produced, because we all have different tastes. I have to say a big thank you to a viewer who put me onto a really good book on amplifiers. And while it's quite involved regarding how components and amplifier design really shape the tone, it's got some great little stories behind not just the big names, but also the many boutique models that never really managed to break into the big time. So it's a good book, that. Now, I do use one other amplifier in the studio when it comes to a deep, clean, full tone with excellent overhead and with very good reverb. I find that my Fender Twin Reverb Tone Master, another digital amp, is such a great amplifier to use. Again, this amp also takes pedals well, but if I'm looking for an overdrive tone, I tend to favour the Blackstar's inbuilt overdrive tones, which I can further manipulate with pedals or software within Toontrack's EZ products, which I illustrated in the previous video. So do check that out. So it's the Blackstar Studio 10 6L6 and the Fender Twin Reverb Tone Master amplifiers that I use in my studio recordings. That does not mean to say I don't appreciate so many other models on the market, but unless you're a bit of an amplifier collector, my end game is to write and compose music projects. So I don't want to spend too much time trying out every amplifier in the music store. And as you will have seen in the previous video, music tones and effects, whether generated by an amplifier, physical effects units, or computer software, I use them all, and I use various methods to achieve my end goal. Once again, these are my own opinions. I'm not paid by anyone to promote their products. In the next video, we do some more unboxing. Please do subscribe, hit the bell to get notifications, like, share. It's always nice to hear from other folks and hear about your experiences. So please do share in the comments below. Do check out my channel playlist where you can find my guitar video series, which covers my journey back to playing and recording guitar after a 40-year break. So whether you're a newcomer, an ongoing player, or like me, an old hand returning to guitar playing, I always take time to engage with folks who take time to comment. So, until next time, the journey continues. Take care.